Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
The confirmation process of Elena Kagan has now discovered that, in fact, she might be the one person responsible for maintaining partial birth abortion for at least 7 years in this country. We're going to be talking about it today on Faith and Freedom. I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel and dean of Liberty University School of Law. Joining me is Matt Barber, director of cultural affairs for Liberty Counsel and associate dean for the law school. Elena Kagan, when she was with the Obama administration about 14 years ago, she was working on partial birth abortion. And the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, or ACOG as it's often called, came forth with a report with regards to partial birth abortion. And in that report, ACOG said that it was not medically necessary. When she found out about the report and it came to her attention, they were waiting for it in terms of their debate over this bill, and she was shocked, said that this could be very damaging to their cause, that is their cause of not having a partial birth abortion bill. So she ended up changing the testimony, changing the actual report. I mean, Elena Kagan now is working in the Clinton administration. She gets medical evidence from ACOG that says partial birth abortion is not necessary to save the health or life of the mother.
Never necessary.
Never necessary.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like it because she knows that it would hurt her cause, so she changes the testimony. And it looks like she not only changed it, but she lobbied ACOG and she lobbied the AMA to change their report. And it was that report, changed version, Elena Kagan's changed version, that ultimately was eventually before the U.S. Supreme Court in 2000, when the Supreme Court struck down the law that bans partial birth abortion.
Well, we know that the left and pro-aborts for decades, in order to argue that abortion is necessary, argue that it's put in place for the life and the health of the mother. Well, this report came out and said in no instance is it a partial birth abortion going to be necessary to maintain the life or the health of the mother. That just totally guts their goal to further to have partial birth abortion. She understood that, so she took the report, changed the language so that it would say the exact opposite of what it actually said, of what the research actually discovered. Well, there's a word for that. That's fraud. And then she pressured them to get on board with this, and that was the final version that went through. So she engaged in open fraud in order to achieve an outcome. She was supposed to, be in a position where she's objectively looking at this information, which is coincidentally what a Supreme Court justice is supposed to do. She didn't like what she saw, so she committed, essentially, she acted fraudulently in order to change it to arrive at the outcome. That is the exact thing that we're concerned about with her as a Supreme Court justice, and she has already established that she's willing to do it on one of the most hot-button issues of our time. Well, she should be disqualified.
Here's some of the sequence. Back in June 22, 1996, Kagan met with the chief lobbyist for the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. Her notes from that meeting says this: in the vast majority of cases, selection of the partial birth abortion procedure is not necessary to avert serious adverse consequences to a woman's health. And then she's kind of sorry that it's not necessary. The second document that comes out is later in that same year, December of 1996, and this is a statement from ACOG. And it says this: a select panel was convened by ACOG, and it could identify no circumstances under which this procedure, as defined above, which is the partial birth abortion procedure, would be the only option to save the life or preserve the health of the woman. Now, they're saying there's no procedure, there's no circumstances this is necessary. None. Well, she's lamenting the fact that this is now going to cause some problems for the Clinton administration because they want partial birth abortion. So the third document's a series of undated notes from Kagan offering suggested options for editing the ACOG statement. Kagan is a lawyer. She wants to change the testimony, the report of a medical society because it doesn't agree with her position. And so she gave some suggested sentences on how to change the report. Unbelievable.
This is the most horrific practice you can imagine. This is nothing short of infanticide we're talking about here. The child is delivered almost completely. Part of the head is left in, and then the child is killed. And I won't go into the graphic details of how the child is killed because it's just so horrific. They are so bent on worshiping at the altar of this so-called euphemistic choice that they are willing. She is willing to lie to really engage in fraud here in order to achieve that ends. It's mind-boggling.
Listen to this. Let me kind of go down through this again because it's chilling. A select panel. This is from ACOG, December of 1996. A select panel convened by ACOG could identify no circumstances under which this procedure would be the only option to save the life or preserve the health of the woman. That's ACOG.
That's the language.
So Kagan then says, well, here's a suggestion you need to add into your report.
Well, her notes even say that it would be devastating to their position.
That's right. And so because it would be devastating to her position and Clinton's position, because they wanted partial birth abortion,